All right, here we are with Jeremy Anders from Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, and we're going to talk today a little bit about kart racing that you do here at the fairgrounds. And welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, yeah, we're excited to have you too. It's actually pretty fun if you don't get a chance to watch. It's pretty amazing to watch little kids. So, what's the youngest kid you have race?
So our last event, the youngest kid we had race turned 5 years old, 2 weeks before the event,
Oh wow,
and our oldest racer we had was 84 years old.
wow, that's
So it's quite the variety of ages in there. The youngest they can be is they have to be at least 5 years old to race. So that's covered there. We've had as old I think as 86, 87, but yeah, we have a few 80-year-olds, and the 84-year-old last time he finished fourth in his main event, which is pretty cool.
wow. Tell us a little bit about what you do. I know you're affiliated with Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, and karting is a big deal. So tell us a little bit about how that whole came about.
So I'm the general manager of Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, which is in Wenatchee. We have the fastest and one of the nicest quarter-mile racetracks in the Northwest. It's been in operation since 1970, and we race year-round. Race big time in the summertime from April until into September is our racing season. For people in Grant County, we're kind of a sister track where we're for so many years Ephrata Raceway Park. And so we've been going strong for a while. I've been there full time as the general manager and part of the ownership group since 2018. And in 2020, during the COVID time, there was some stuff going on. There's always been what this is called barn kart racing, or winter kart race is what this is called. And it's happened for many years in the Spokane area at the fairgrounds up there. It's happened over in Evergreen area at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds in Monroe, down in Puyallup area, but nothing really ever here in the Central Washington area. But people from here had done it. And so at that time, those fairground areas were kind of shutting them down because of COVID.
Right.
And so somebody we knew kind of said, hey, you guys should look at maybe doing something like doing a racing event up at Grant County Fairgrounds. So we came down here and we met you that day, myself, along with Jim Dotson, who helps put on some up in the fairgrounds up there. Kevin Hare, who's a local guy here involved in kart racing. I really had never done a whole lot with kart racing that time. I mean, I've always been, pretty big on, running events and promoting events and doing the operation events. It's racing. That's the way I looked at it. It's like, it's another form of racing. We met and we said, okay, let's do it. We set a week for about a month later. And we ended up having the biggest event in the history of kart racing in the last 10 years on the West Coast during COVID day.
Are you saying you were beating California?
Oh, yeah. It was the biggest event we'd had. We had over 200 entries. We weren't prepared for it, really, honestly. We kind of caught us off guard. And it kind of was born at that time, Columbia Basin Karting. We started off that thing, and next year we did 4 events, and the next year we did 4 events. And I think this is our 4th year now. 4th or 5th year now we've done, and we do about 4 to 5 events a year. We did our first outdoor event this last year. We did out in the rodeo grounds, which was pretty fun. A lot of people like that.
A little bigger track out there.
A little bigger track out there for sure. But yeah, we take the Ardell, which is one of the nicest, arenas in there. The great thing about the Ardell is it has really good dirt. It's a good combination. So when we race on it, it really hardens up and makes for a really good track surface like that. So we have some great partners. Our friends at Tomer Construction, they are amazing. They provide equipment. We go in there and we bring in a grader, we build the track, we pack it down, and we put on a little racetrack inside there. And by the time we're done with it, you don't believe what it's look like. And then you start turning cars loose in there, and it's crazy. And, we're averaging, usually 120 to 130 entries every one of our smaller events. And then coming up this weekend is the Northwest Karting Nationals, which is an event we started a couple years ago. And it's now become the probably biggest karting event in the wintertime on the West Coast every year now, the last 3 or 4 years. Like this weekend, I think we're going to be close to 170, 180 entries. We have teams from Washington, every corner of Washington you can think of, Oregon, Idaho, Northern Idaho, Southern Idaho, Montana, and British Columbia all coming to race this weekend. And, they're going to come on Friday and they're going to stay until Sunday. We've sold out at least a couple hotels already with people. So it's a huge economic impact for Moses Lake in the wintertime. And brings it definitely a different demographic. And I think the other thing that we've really found is when we first started this, there wasn't a whole lot of racers or racing with us that were local, like from the Grant County areas like that. And Grant County has a long heritage of racing. It goes all the way back to the racing at Soap Lake back in the early 60s when they built that track. And then when Ephrata Raceway Park opened up in 1969. And then, with that closing in 2018 or so, there hasn't been like a hardcore racing, environment here in Grant County. But now we're kind of bringing that back. And we're starting to see some of those racers who used to race at Ephrata and stuff like that coming out of the woodworks, and they're racing with their kids, racing karting. So when we first started, I'd say maybe we had 5% of our racers were from the Grant County area. I would say this weekend we're probably going to have maybe 15 to 20% of our racers from Grant County area. So that's really cool to see. And we're starting to see a really big youth movement in the Grant County area. So we're starting to see those racers race here in the wintertime in the karts, and then they're actually coming to race at the Super Oval in the summertime.
Wow. Do you do kart racing at the Super Oval?
We don't. It's all full car racing. So yeah. So we have classes though, but we have like our Bandolero class, which like my son races. He's raced here since we started this event in the quarter midgets and the little karts like that. He races the Bandoleros, and those kids are 7 to 12 years old, and they're hitting 65, 70 miles per hour on the asphalt track up there. But this is where they can learn car control. This is really the great thing about dirt racing. It really teaches them car control and how to handle that horsepower.
It's a little more forgiving probably than asphalt.
It is sometimes. I mean, we've had some pretty good wrecks over there. We've rolled a few cars, we've hit a few things, and but you know, I will say we have not had a serious injury of anything over there. Knock on wood. We've had some hard wrecks ever, but you know, we always make sure we take safety first. We always have a full staff of EMT there, fire safety crews like that. But you know, and if something wreck happens, everybody's right there on top of it. So yeah.
Is there money involved in the racing? So do you do purses for each event?
Yeah. So our smaller events, we don't do as big as purses. I mean, we're probably still paying out a couple $1,000s every weekend for the smaller events like that. But like this weekend here, between the trophy, I think I just paid the trophy bills, about $1,500 for trophies, and then we are probably going to give away almost $7,000 in cash and prizes for the awards like that. So. But when you have 170 entries, you know, you got to put some money up there for it. So the winners in a few divisions, they'll walk away with $500 to $1,000 and be a nice little chunk of change from the weekend. And I can
getting them doing something in the winter.
Yeah.
But they normally wouldn't probably have the opportunity. They're actually out racing.
It gives them an opportunity to really get that racing bug taken care of, you know, because it is a bug or a you know, hobbies like that. So it's really cool because we're starting to see, you know, people who were never involved in kart racing have really jumped on the last couple of years because now it has that winter time to do it. Because if they were in the Wenatchee or Moses Lake before, they'd have to travel to Spokane, they'd have to travel to Evergreen to do it. But now they can do it right here.
I can put up some pictures as we're talking so you can kind of see some of the different types of racing that goes on here. Some quarter midgets.
Yeah, the quarter midgets there, those are the young kids. And we have about 3 different classes of those. We have a rookie, restricted rookie class, which they come in, they have to weigh a certain amount. They have a restrictor on the cars like that. Those kids are usually the first 2 years they're racing, they're 5 to 9 years old in that class there. These ones are nice because they're full roll cages, so they roll over, and they tend to roll over more often because of that, and they'll have the wings on like that. But those are the definite quarter midgets, and they race on a regular basis. These kids do year round over in Yakima. They have a track in Yakima. They have a track on asphalt, track in Puyallup. There's a track in Monroe, and then there's a dirt track down in Elma.
Oh wow, wow, quite a few tracks. Yeah. So what I mean, looking at those karts, and let's pull up another picture here. How much does a kart cost?
You know, it really depends on the class. You can get some of our lower, like I'd say you can probably get a box stock, like which is just we call like that's considered a flat cart there. So the flat carts are just the smaller cart that is, you know, there's no cage on for that. That's like a kid's junior one there. You know, you're probably looking with a box stock cart, you could probably get one and be competitive for $800 to $1,200-$1,300 ever. But you get into like the cage carts with the big motors like that, you're looking 10,000 plus.
Yeah. That kid there is probably only,
I bet he was probably 7 years old.
7 years.
Yeah, 6, 7 years old. Yeah.
Wow. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. And some of these classes we use he just has like 3 or 4 of our classes are based off the Predator motors, which is pretty much just go down to Harbor Freight and you buy the $149 Predator motor. And a few classes, there's
like 212cc.
Yeah. And there's a few classes where you can't do anything to them. You can literally take like the governor off and you can change anything else, but you can't do anything else. And then there's a few classes you can do a little bit more to them. But, you know, that's the nice thing about it is you don't have to be a rocket science on the motor wise. You can just go down there and do it and have some fun. And then you have a few classes where, you know, you have professional engine builders building your engines and like that. So
here's another
one of the quarter midgets there. And then the one thing you know is that some will have treaded tires, some will have slick tires. And this surface out here it's so unique because of the surface out there. You never know what you're going to need, the tread or the slick, because it changes so much. Especially like this, where we're going to have karts on the track for 3 days in a row, the surface will change a lot.
Yeah.
It'll actually, by the time we get to Sunday, you actually start seeing rubber built up on the dirt because there'll be so much racing on it. I mean, you got to think, we're going to have 170 karts. You know, we'll probably have 60 heat races on Saturday. On Saturday night, we do this fun thing called the Enduro. So you have to be one of our lower 3 classes. It's the first 30 karts enter. You pull up, your fuel tank has to be empty, and you get 30 ounces of fuel. And whoever can do the most laps, we started this last year, and it was a lot of fun. Whoever do the most laps, and one of the kids guys went 312 laps in an hour.
Wow.
And he ended up winning it. So it's kind of a fun one. I think we ended up having like 25 carts out there and just go around and around. And you only get to restart your cart one time. And then, so those are like extra added things we're adding in each year to try to, make the event more fun and stuff like that. And, a lot of people they really enjoy the family atmosphere of it. And the nice thing about here that we have that's different than some of the other places, like, we have Top Gun concessions. So we got food and everything right there. So people can kind of hang out there. They can eat some food throughout the day where they're going. We have the bleachers area inside. There's a lot more viewing areas like that. So it makes for a lot more fun event for people to go to.
I know I was talking to Kale Russell from 10 Pin at a recent event that we were both at, him and Jessica, his wife. And they said they love it when you come because their hotel is absolutely full.
Yeah, we can
in a season where they normally wouldn't be full.
We've created a great partnership with 10 Pin in the last few years that we have sold out their hotel multiple nights, and they've become a great partner with us. They help sponsor us with some offset costs for our staff and people coming down for that. And I know on weekends where we are racing, their bar and the casino usually is happening in a pretty good area. Our people like to have a good time, and especially on these weekends where it's a 2-day event. I'm sure Saturday night will be a happening place over there.
Yeah. No racing in the parking lot.
No.
We'll keep your carts here.
We'll keep the carts here. Yeah.
How fast does a cart go on the track, do you think?
Well,
top speed, do you think calculated, or
I don't know if we've ever calculated actual top speed. We have to do it, but I mean, it's a pretty good size, track they're putting out there. The fast guys, they'll hit like 7.5 second laps around there, and they're flying. And then like the kids classes, they're doing about 10-second laps in there. So that just tells you the variation of the lap speeds. I would say if you probably put a speedometer, you're probably hitting guys who are hitting 40 on the hard spot, I would say, which on a tiny little building like that, that's flying in a little vehicle. So, when we had the big track outdoors, when we did the big one, I bet you they were hitting 50 because they were flying down that. We had a kind of a big long backstretch. So they were flying on that.
Are you going to you plan on doing it again this year? Or are you still working on that?
We're going to do it again for sure in October next year. It's really tough. A lot of the people, including myself, we're good for like October, November, December, January, and February. But March, everybody starts gearing up for like full track season like that. So it's a little tough for us to do, but we've just found that it's found our niche for us to do, and it's a fun thing and keeps us engaged with our audience. And we're starting to see now fans who are starting to come watch the races down here, which anybody can come watch. We treat everything as a pit pass because once you walk in, you're in the pits. You can walk around, check out the cars, talk to people for that. So everything's a pit pass, and you're kind of right there in the action for that. But we're starting to see people who are watching things down here starting to come up to the Super Oval from Wenatchee, which is kind of a great thing to see.
Good, yeah. And you're really good at branding what you're doing here for the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval, so people understand there's a correlation between the two.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's see. If is there a fee to come watch, or what was the pit you charge for the pit pass?
Yeah, so it's a pit pass. So adults are 15 and kids 12 and under are 10, and then under 4 is free, I believe. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, so and then you get a wristbands like that, and then just make sure you're protected. So if you get hit by a cart, I mean, you see them, they roll sometimes. You want to roll out there, we might make sure it's protected.
Well, and there's always dirt flying.
Yeah, and then Friday night we have a couple practice things. You can come take a look and just watch those for free.
Yeah. So when's your season start at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval?
April 19th. This is our 55th year of racing at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. So our 50th year got ruined by COVID, so we didn't get to celebrate a whole lot that year. So we're doing a lot of big things this year for our 55th year. So we started up in 1970. The track in Soap Lake closed in 1969. And so there was a correlation between that. And so people always said that the track at Wenatchee was designed based off the track at Soap Lake. So it's kind of an interesting thing there. But yeah, so we started up April 19th. We got a lot of great things planned. We went really big on this year's schedule up there. We're bringing back Monster Truck for the first time in 8 years, the Monster Malicious Tour, which was one of the top tours on the West Coast. A lot of trucks you'll see on Monster Jams like that will be there as well. We're bringing back the 406 Freestyle Motocross, which last time they were in Wenatchee was about 10 years ago, and they usually have 4 or 5 guys who are X Games medalists to do a full show there. And then we have some of the biggest late model races in the West Coast. We have the Wenatchee 200, which is May 31st. It's always that last Saturday, first Saturday of June. And it's become one of the biggest late model races in the country. Last year, we had drivers from 14 different states come for race for it. We paid out over $100,000 that weekend last year. And it got some big names. It was a lot of fun.
It's a great place to watch a race too. I've been there one time. I keep telling you, I'll come up and see it. And it's like,
I keep on telling you, you got to come to boat race night. Boat race night is like taking your demo derby here, and then you add boats in it, and then you put on asphalt. That's what it is. So boat race destruction night. If you haven't ever been to it, that's a crazy
nice boat.
No, you don't bring a nice bow. So it's we take pretty much like your demo cars here, which we race called them to pass, and we put them on the asphalt track. We water down the track a little bit, and then we put them no trailers, just the boats dragged behind, and then you got to destroy your opponent's boat. And it is our fan favorite for sure. So we get to do that September 6th, and it's always one of our biggest crowds of the year.
And I think did I see a semi truck race one time up there?
Yeah, we've done that the last couple of years. We're taking that off this year to do monster trucks instead. So we haven't done monster trucks in 8 years, and so we're like going to give it a try and bring it back and do some stuff. We have a really nice grass that we like to. We're very well known for our nice grass like that, but we have figured out a way to do the monster trucks with the grass still, and we'll see how it works out.
Oh, good. Well, come on up this weekend. Racing starts. I think you're going to probably do some practice runs tomorrow night, and then Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. So Saturday we'll have heat races. So every class does 2 rounds of heat races. Like I said, we'll have 60 heat races. It'll be crazy. And where they finish in their heat races, they get points for that, and then that seeds them into the main events. And we'll start the main events on Sunday morning. So racing tomorrow on Saturday gets started about 11:45, and we'll probably have heat races from 11:45 to about 5:30. We're shooting to do our enduro about 5:30. We'll be done. Hopefully, you wrapped up by about 6:30, 7 o'clock. People have time to go home and go have a beer at the 10 pin and have some dinner, get a nice rest. And then Sunday we called Alphabet Soup. So we'll start with one practice session in the morning, and then we'll about 10 o'clock, we'll start with I'm assuming we're going to have some D mains, some C mains, some B mains, and then all the A mains. So we'll probably have close to 400 laps of main event racing just on Sunday alone.
Wow.
And like I said, we got people from all over the Northwest. I think we have like I said, Montana, northern and southern Idaho, Oregon, every single corner of Washington is covered, and British Columbia all coming in for this weekend. And anywhere from 5 to 85 years old.
And the nice thing is it's inside, so don't let the weather scare you. The Ardell is dry. It's not exactly the warmest, although with all those bodies in there, it does warm up quite a bit.
And it's worth to come down because you can have a Top Gun concession maple bar, which is worth the trip by itself.
Corn dog, too.
Or the corn dog, too.
Oh, man.
I'm all about the maple bar, but the maple bar, the maple bar and watch karting all at the same time, and it's a lot of fun.
And I have a Top Gun concessions burger, too. Jim makes really good burgers. I think Joy makes them, actually. I'm not sure Jim does. Anyway, that's all we're going to do for this episode. Thank you for coming down and talking to us, and come on down and check out the racing this weekend.